Alright, hi YouTube, as promised, so here is a quick perk guide video I was meaning to do for some time. We have 26 perks for both survivors and Specters. There's 13 perks each side, but out of 26 perks we have, not all of them are useful. I would strongly recommend that you look at the older videos that I have posted before about regarding the perks and what they're good for, what they're not. I just wanted to highlight a few of the newer perks and a few of the perks that I have slight change of the opinions on essentially. So let's start from the beginning. So here we go. So Adrenaline doesn't really do much, not really useful, it's not really worth a perk slot. It makes you faster by 0.2 meters per second when you're injured. Survivor movement speed is 5.75 meters per second when they're running. The 0.2 meter per second addition doesn't really do much. Door Slam is actually quite good perk. If you are using these characters on somebody like a Tim or Yuri, it's a great way to bait out a shield. And even if you don't bait up the shield, if you just stun the Specter straight away, that alone actually makes it quite decent. Focus. Not really necessary. It does make the skill check area a lot bigger. Well, noticeably bigger at least. You should really just either hit the skill checks or don't hit the skill check, one or the other. You shouldn't really need a perk to do it. It doesn't actually give you any benefit, essentially. Master of Herald reduces cooldown of active perks by 30%. That means somebody like Tim and Yuri, both of which have 25-second cooldown their active perk, reduced by 30%. That reduces down to 17.5, and that's ridiculously good. Consider that Yuri can run for 8 seconds, Tim can run for 9 seconds on top, and you have this Master of Herald. Oh my god, it's ridiculously good. Lucky Shot, it gives you 10% chance of using the weapon again that you're holding, but it doesn't really work properly. Sometimes it procs but doesn't give you the charge back, and of course the problem is 10%. 10% is very low. It's not really worth running it. Sharp Eye. Now here's the thing, I've said this before in the Sharp Eye video, but if you can hit the perfect skill checks all the time, Sharp Eye is really strong. It makes any ritual, so if you do a ritual without concerning about the speed of it, it takes about 100 seconds to do it. If you do it with skipping all the skill checks, you can do it between about 85 seconds to 90 seconds depending on the number of skill checks you get. And if you do hit all the perfects without Sharp Eye, that reduces down to about 75 seconds-ish. Now if you have a Sharp Eye and hit every single perfect, that goes down to 60. So from 60 to 100, that's 40-second difference. That is a lot of difference. However, running Sharp Eye also means you do have to hit all the perfect skill checks, otherwise you're also wasting time. So there is that part, but if you can do that, it is actually really good. If you can't hit skill checks, however, if you hit only about 5 skill checks, it doesn't make much of a speed difference in about 5 skill checks. Show Prey. Reviving time is reduced by half. Now this is actually a really good perk. So reviving takes about 8 seconds to revive a person. If you have a Show Prey that reduces down to 4 seconds. Now when Specter hits you, they have a 5-second cooldown. So you can essentially tank a hit. If you do it right, you tank a hit, will start reviving, and by the time Specter is able to attack you again, person's rest. It's that good. Of course, the person rest doesn't have any items, doesn't have any perks, they'll probably get tunneled to death as soon as their shield runs out. But, yeah, you can do that. Never give up. Much like Adrenaline, it doesn't have much of a speed difference on here. So again, it is worthless perk. If you were to use Adrenaline and Never Give Up holding a sword with below 50 HP, yes, it does make you faster. But does it make you so fast that you can't be caught up by a Specter eventually? No, it doesn't work like that. So no, not really that good. Sturdy. It essentially gives you 1 health, 1 extra health. That's what it does, and that's what makes a Sturdy really good. It makes chase that much longer. I think it really needs to be changed, but we'll see. I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon anyway. Super Landing. It's got 80-second cooldown, but it does prevent you from taking any damage when you fall down. Fall down damage is 12, which is a bit of a chunk on your HP, to be fair. That said, cooldowns 80 seconds, and a lot of times you actually want to fall down, gain that stamina from there, so you can run on longer, rather than not get any stamina and get hit still. The philosophy of the map development seems to be going that drop downs give you enough distance so you have more distance. However, you're still going to get caught. It's not going to be a safe drop. The only safe drop that exists in this game right now is in the swamp, and all the drop downs in hospital. They're the safe ones. All the other new drop downs seems to be working around that if you drop down, you can buy some distance, but you can't abuse it. That's what seems to be the design philosophy for the drop downs anyway, which is great because it should have been like that to begin with. Take a rest. Stamina recovers faster while you're crouching. This is great, but at the same time, you have to think about it. It does make your stamina regen about 20% faster, but do you ever get a chance to use crouch during a chase to recover your stamina? No, you don't, because most Specter will chase you until you die. So you need to, otherwise they reload. So again, not the best perk. Thread expert. Now this is one of the perks that has changed recently. So holy string traps can be done 50% faster. It takes only half a time to set up a trap. And not only that, there's no skill check. Thread expert was absolutely useless because of a skill check RNG. If you had a skill check at all while setting up a trap, having a thread expert and not having a thread expert, there was no speed difference essentially because of the skill RNG. Now getting rid of the skill RNG is really great because that actually makes thread expert that much more useful. However, the key point here is that it works only on string traps. And string traps are quite useless. In the beginning of the game, you should be using it at all to start off with. And at the later game, you can use it, but then again at the late game, if the game is already pretty much survivor sided, you're better off getting an extra chaplet from a chest, or getting a syringe, or getting literally anything else except for string trap essentially. So you gotta think about that. Plus, a lot of specters will see the trap and just cancel it. Now, Treasure Hunter, another underrated perk, much like a show prey. Its speed bonus is 1 second faster speed for rummaging through a chest. Now, 1 second doesn't seem like a lot, but if you do any chest without Treasure Hunter, that's 8 seconds. With Treasure Hunter, it's 7 seconds. It saves 1 second out of 8. That's a 12.5% faster time. 12.5 on a regular basis is actually quite good. Again, if this is one of the underrated perks that people seem to use a lot because other perks exist, but Superhero Landing is overrated, Treasure Hunter underrated. Let's look at the Specter side now. Okay, Specters again 13 perks, but let's have a look. Aftershock, totally useless. You have a 5-second charge time, you can land a hit, and then they pick up the item straight away. What's the point in doing that? Exactly. Autoguard, I have to say this one with helmet. So Autoguard and helmet works exactly the same way. They can essentially block a stun. It's just that Autoguard activates on third hit or guaranteed, whereas helmet is slightly more RNG based, slightly more. But helmet again works in every 30% chance as well. But helmet can proc 2 times in succession, whereas Autoguard has a stack that you have to build up to work Autoguard. However, Autoguard also prevents any blind, so there is that point. And not only that, because it's not a complete RNG, you can actually use it to your advantage. So you deliberately take 2 hits in the beginning, for example, like Holy Water. Okay? And knowing that the third one is going to be auto-guarded, then you can use that to your advantage. So for example, if you were to swing and then get stunned, and auto-guard cancels the swing animation cooldown, so you can attack faster. Of course, helmet has a more better of an RNG in terms of that you can actually proc it multiple times, because you can actually proc it 2 times in a row, which gives you a bit more advantage as a Specter. But again, this is down to personal choices. I prefer auto-guard because I don't like relying on RNG. I like to know that if I have stack built up, then I can use that free stack for damage or anything like that. Whereas helmets, not really that much. Next one we have Darker Cool. Darker Cool reduces active perk cooldown by 30%. Now this perk, I've said it before, it is useful on every single Specter that we have at the moment. Not so much on Nymph at the moment to effect. Nymph is, but on Prisoner and Bell, it is quite useful. It essentially makes Prisoner deal more damage by 30%, give or take, and it makes Bell chase a lot faster. Okay, 90-second cooldown going down to about 60 seconds when using Blood Portal is absolutely great. Now Infectidone. Infectidone is a new perk. Now, a successful attack will make survivor unable to use syringe for 20 seconds. Now, is that good? If you think this is good, then I do have to ask your sanity about it. I don't understand the thought process behind this perk. Now, Helmet we've already talked about along with Auto Guard, so I'm gonna move on to the next one. Jump Scare. It makes you appear quicker without any slowdowns. So you're on a sort of like base your movement speed of Specter, be able to attack the survivor. Not the best perk, really. It's a good survivor will be able to hear your footsteps. So Specter, like Prisoner, has a loud ass footstep, right? You can hear it. So again, it's pointless. Same with Bell. And of course, it doesn't make any sense to use Jump Scare on Limb because Limb's got range attack, doesn't need to be anywhere near the range. So why would you have that? I don't know. I don't even know why this is not even the base kit. Anyway. Last Dance! Performing Execution will recover 70 HP is what it says on here. But we know that Execution gives you 8 HP. So with the Last Dance it gives you 80 HP plus 70, giving you 150 HP back altogether. Now this is a great way to get HP back end game. But if you're made to the end game and needing this, then realistically speaking, it's not going to be much of a help to you because you have to kill a person to get the HP. You should have killed a person by this point, before the end game essentially, against any good survivors or good team up survivors. If you go to the end game with all 4 people alive, you're pretty much signing your death warrant. Now, phasing. Ooh, can move through doors. Yeah, I think we talked about this. I'm gonna move on because phasing is useless. Next one, it is useless. Poltergeist. You can destroy walls and doors for first 2 seconds you activate immunity is what it actually means. Now, Poltergeist is only useful on certain maps. Hospital. We have 5 maps now. Essentially, the Poltergeist essentially works so that you can only destroy 1 door or 1 hole at a time on whatever the cooldown you have on your immunity shield, which is 20 seconds at least. Is it worth doing it? 20-second cooldown to destroy 1 door. A defense. So if you were to run Poltergeist, you have to run either Auto Guard or Helmet, because as soon as you use your immunity, now you have nothing to defend yourself against any stuns. But is it worth running Poltergeist, which only works basically in 1 map out of 5? And plus, if you know what, if the Spectres is running Poltergeist and Survivor can see that, then they just have to make sure they play around it. Like I said, you have to run either Auto Guard or Helmet. So having a Rattan actually against anybody who's using Poltergeist is really good, because if you don't have an Auto Guard and Helmet, you're just gonna get stunned until your cooldown before it comes back up. Now, Serial Killer. Somebody has mentioned this as this is very, very unhealthy perk. It is a noob stomping perk. That's what this is. It's easy to kill newbies with it because you will be able to get your cooldowns faster. Kill one, next, kill one, next, kill one. It makes the game so much faster for Spectres this way. However, against an inexperienced player, is that gonna make any difference? No, because 1, you have to kill them first to start off with. 2, as soon as they know, it's suicide. Because you can do that quite easily. If you suicide, you don't get the serial killer activated, then what do you do? Nothing you can do. So this is unhealthy perk, essentially. Because it makes killing newbies that much easier. That's what this does. Right. Share Barrier. Share Barrier was actually an amazing perk, it turns out. So rather than using something like Last Dance for the end game, using Share Barrier and using your ability to maneuver your character very quickly is going to be better. So this can potentially reduce any incoming damage from melee weapons by 2/3. That's 66%. Because if a melee weapon has 3 charges, just simply by turning your back around makes melee weapons completely useless. If you can time it right so that you use your shield and turn your back at the same time, you don't take damage and get rid of the weapon at the same time too. So this is actually one of the best perk in the game. It allows you to destroy items really, really quickly. Is it OP though? Not really, because there is a clear counter to it. So Share Barrier does have a quite bit of a area behind the Specter. Sometimes you can hit the Specter on the arm and it still counts as a back. So it's got quite a bit of area in the back. But you can still attack Specter front head on. You can trade blows against somebody like a bear, for example, or even a prisoner. You can actually trade the blow. So hit for hit. Especially if there's 4 of you. Because what the hell not? And of course it doesn't counter anything from Holy Water. So Holy Water can still be used. 3 charge Holy Water deal 45 damage. That's still a lot of damage to come. That's still a lot of damage to take. So Share Barrier is good. I don't think it's OP. There are ways to play around it, but yeah, it is actually a very, very good defense perk. Special Receptor is rubbish, just move on. And Stamina Drain, I've already talked about Stamina Drain to death at this point, so please have a look at that video, link down here to see why Stamina Drain is bad. Stamina Drain is still bad. Don't use it, please don't use it, it doesn't do anything. Alright, that's it from me. Now I am gonna come back and do a video on what each of the items do, because items are the bane of this game at this point for Spectres. Items are too strong, and I will be talking about why they are strong and how they are strong. That's it from me then. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.